As we continue our week looking at hallowing God's name, I had fun picking scriptures for this week because there are actually so many scriptures that talk about God's name in different ways. Today I want to encourage you to look at Psalm 9. If you have the time, you can read it in its entirety. It's 20 verses long. Psalm 9 is a lament as far as the type of psalm. So this is, again, a lament is like the blues. When things aren't going well and you're just calling out to God, think just like a blues song. And it's a psalm of David, and David certainly had his low moments. And Psalm 9, especially in verses 3 through 12, is an affirmation or expression of trust about how, hey, even though I'm going through a tough time, God's been there for me before, and I'm trusting and believing that God will be there for me again. And our verse for today is verse 10, which says, "And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you." And this reminds me a little bit of another verse in the Psalms that says, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Seek God's strength continually." And so here we're being encouraged, first of all, we're not going to put our trust in a God whose name we don't know, right? There needs to be a relationship. There needs to at least be a basic understanding of who God is. I was reading an article yesterday about some of the latest research about religion and American life, and one of the significant shifts that has happened in the last decade or so is the shift from people saying that just they don't go to church, and they don't go to church for different reasons. But now one of the biggest reasons why people go to church, it's not because of past behavior by churches. It's simply because people don't believe in the basic tenets of the faith. They don't believe in God. They don't believe a God even exists. So if you don't believe God exists, you're certainly not going to put your trust in God. And you need to know God's name, as Psalm 9 says. And so we believe in a God who is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love, the God who first revealed himself to the people of Israel so that Israel would be a light to the nations. And David is affirming, we want to know God personally, we want to put our trust in God, and we believe that God has not forsaken us. And sometimes it feels like God is silent or absent or not there with us. And some of you watching this devotional may be feeling that way today. And sometimes it's the faith of other people who carry us through those times when our faith is wavering or weakening, or we're experiencing a dark night of the soul, which may feel like it turns into a dark week or a dark month. But believing that God is with us even when it doesn't feel like it's important. One final thought for today. I'm recording this the day after we had the significant solar eclipse. And one of the things that struck Jill and I as we were watching that for a little bit on the beach is the sun is so bright that if you didn't know it for a good chunk of the eclipse, you wouldn't even know that anything was going on, because the sun was so much brighter, even with the shadow of the moon upon it, blocking our view. And sometimes we have things that block our view of God, but God is still there, and God is still with you today.